Hey fellow netizens, Plus here. 2024 is finally coming to an end, and holy was this a bizarre year. We got the downfall of Mr. Beast before Arknights Endfield. The whole exposure situation has become the absolute goldmine for a lot of content creators, gonna hit the iron while it is hot. A lot of people went to France to watch the summer games, not to embrace athleticism or sportsmanship, nah-ah. People simply wanted to see the hilarious failure of the Olympics in the flesh. On the other side, what the fuck happened to the stock market? We just lost $6.4 trillion. Also guys, I can't believe that Mark Max got re-elected again. Dude has been the president of the United States of Colombia for nearly 250 years. Is there anyone who can replace this bird? This year was truly a wild ride. We got to learn that Nikocado Avocado was indeed always 2 steps ahead, how Deku from My Hero Academia actually peaked at high school, and we almost got the second coming of Iroha in a not so legal Blue Archive ripoff. I can't believe I'm saying this, but the Vatican now officially has an anime mascot, which makes having the power of God in anime a canon event. And with the release of Zenless Zone Zero, MiHoYo finally unleashed their ultimate game to filter out the tourists. I gotta say, we truly live in an extraordinary timeline, but what happened to Arknights Global in 2024? Buckle up netizens and get ready for the emotional rollercoaster that is the best of Arknights 2024. Beneath the rubble, we are starting off with our very first event about Rimbilliton, the nation that is made up of corporations and Catharsis. The Grinning Valley was basically a slice of life road movie turned into a visual novel. It happened pre-Londinium crisis, where the gang is trying to restore the Doctor's broken memories. And let me tell you, this is the build-up for the finale of this year. We got Wormy, Suzerain's biggest rival, and Makise from Steinsgate. Sniper is a good job, mate. Did you come here today? Nah, I came here yesterday. Not gonna lie, Hypergriff really picked the perfect voice actor to fill in with the Australian representation. Her design is very peak. I mean, just look at her tummy. How can they reveal so little and still make her so hot? Sometimes I like to imagine. Wormy under, my lawyer advised me not to finish this joke. Regardless of that, we also got one of the best skin of the year. I really didn't know I needed a Reed Altar in a witch costume until I did. These skill animations are really something. I mean, she's literally flying in the air. Welcome to the rice field, motherfucker. We are so back in Yen, and this time we welcomed the older sister Shu into the landship. That is if you summoned her with the help of a rice cooker. She has the power to grow things, is perfectly level and can become a particle accelerator in a moment's notice. We traveled to Dahuan, where the land is flat but extremely fertile. Now I can assure you that flat and fertile is essential to the plot of land that is. Shu not only prevented countless war crimes against Rise, she has transcended the term MILF to a new level simply by plowing the fields. Some people went so down bad for her, they wanted to travel to rural areas and start working on the fields too. Well, what can I say? We all did our fair share of hard labor. But can you stop fucking around and steal all my crops? Yosta has made an official creator event where we needed to cook. The more delicious the food looked, the better your chances are to win the event. Wait, nobody told me you can win by submitting a burned toast. There was also a fan animation contest, which was the perfect spotlight for a lot of smaller creators. Thanks Yosta for handling this perfect event, except for that time when the website crashed, and that other time when people had a time frame where they could vote for their submissions endlessly.
Wait, I think something's broken. Wait.
Well, all these things aside, it was an absolute banger event with very cool in-game mechanics too, which was all about the unfiltered water from which she stood in with her bare feet. We mostly drank it and occasionally used it to cleanse corrupted water on the fields. Catharsis finally did it. He made a cover of the Phenomenal Agents song by collaborating with his colleagues, Isaac Wolf, and the blessing from the myth, the legend, Adam Gubman himself. This collaborative project has been a long way coming, but it was absolutely worth the wait and effort. I mean, just look at the Miss Christine cosplay.
Babe! Elle, where are you? Lungbao!
She said she was gonna buy some dumplings?
Why? We have interns for that.
I don't know, something about making sure they were right, I guess.
Okay, find her. I'll handle it for now. Lungmen Dragons also celebrated its 3rd anniversary this August. While LD is mainly a strategy group focused on bringing hardcore gameplay to the EN landscape through showcasing runs of precise, difficult clears, and hosting different Arknights tournaments. It's also a group that focuses on making playing the game your own way accessible through community effort and activities. That's why this year, we hosted a bunch of activities that focused on fostering this sense of community. The community put their thinking caps on as they worked to solve a cryptic crossword puzzle. In fact, they were actually too locked in as they solved the crossword puzzle before it was even announced, prompting us to make a very important announcement. We also had an Ask Me Anything with a Lungmen Dragons panel, giving everyone a chance to ask us the spiciest and most riveting of questions like who are the top 3 operators of today, and
thick tails or thin tails? The Gabriel lovers in chat, mod chat, hello?
And now that we're at the tail end of my part, I just wanted to say that...
Wait, you guys,
Lungbao,
I'm here.
Where were you? We were looking everywhere for what are you holding?
Well, don't worry about it, okay? Anyways, my part for this thing is still on, right?
Yeah, sure, just go ahead. You can put down the...
Hey guys, the Flash and Flare of Lungmen Dragons. My name's Lungbao, and I'm LD's resident Kung Fu Dragon. You'll be seeing more of me here at LD in the near future. It's nice to meet you all. Was that good? I mean, I think that was pretty good. Anyways, I'll be putting these down right over there.
Great, so you're sharing those dumplings with everyone, right?
This year's Gamescom was something very special to me. I was invited by Hypergriff to visit their exhibition and playtest both Arknights Endfield and Popucom. There was a huge crowd around their booth, but because I got invited, I got a reserved spot to playtest. Afterwards, I had the opportunity to talk with the devs about their games. It was one of the most memorable moments to me, because I finally got to meet the people behind my favorite game. Also, thanks Hypergriff for giving me these amazing merch. My soul is officially bribed now, and there is no amount of goodwill I will show any other gacha companies in the future.
Arknights Endfield finally decided to give us some crumbs of content again by going on a verified world tour, attending many conventions. One of these being PAX West in Seattle, which I was fortunate enough to be invited to, and I got to talk to the team behind the game. For so long, the community has been believing that Endfield was just a mass hallucination that we all collectively dreamt up due to a lack of news. But lucky for us, Endfield was playable at PAX and all other conventions attended, and these lines got fairly long and stayed that way for the entire weekend. I saw many players that tried the game leave rather intrigued, and that made me sad, since they too will become victims to the lack of news that we are so accustomed to. Seeing so many people try out the game at PAX and leaving intrigued and happy was exciting. If Endfield can improve on what it already has and take it to the next level, it would have the potential to break out of its niche status that current day Arknights holds. The future is looking bright for Endfield, but remember, we all must wait patiently and let HG cook so we can get a gourmet meal once it comes out. Hopefully those that played Endfield at PAX have already come to check out the prequel and Arknights. So to sum it all up, please give us more news.
When I heard Arknights was getting a second Rainbow Six Siege collab, I had to stop and ask myself, is this a dream or is this reality? In Lucent Arrowhead, we were following Ella and her squad mates, investigating the disappearance of Ash's squad. They also got isekai'd and landed in Docelis, a city known for its tourism and underground terrorism. But this time, we're not in the shiny, glamorous, touristy part of Docelis, we're in the slums. And getting to know the street art community and the narcissistic artifact collector, Raynell. Ella's squad jumped straight into action, teaching some home invaders how to engage in a gunfight like a proper squad, a skill I extremely lacked in Rainbow Six Siege.
Oh shit.
Throughout this journey, we saw how they interact with the Terrans and learn about empathy, especially Doc. Being the Giga Chad he is, went out of his way helping the people of the street art community by being their local doctor. He also threatened a commanding officer and engaged in a bit of language banter with the locals. I also really enjoyed the climax, seeing Rainbow Team in full action with both Ash and Ella's squad working together, and witnessed this amazing recreation of the Rainbow Six cover art. Then there's Raynell. Born in Kazimierz, this man takes capitalism everywhere, so much so he created something that we know and love. NFT. Unfortunately, the public's reaction is not very positive, and this guy perfectly summarizes Raynell as a character. A rich kid with brain rot. Can't say it better myself, my guy.
Yo, what up? It's your boy Renegade coming at you to tell you all about what happened during Contingency Contract Underdawn. It's not a secret that Contingency Contract is supposed to bring out the tryhard in you. I'm talking you leaning forwards to change your gamer posture to lock in type of tryhard. It's supposed to be a new challenge that you need to overcome until the YouTube app comes up. Jokes aside, Contingency Contract was based around the Stultifernavis event, and with it comes the Seaborn enemies, and a lot of people hate the Seaborn for many reasons, and if for some reason you're part of the 1% that likes the Seaborn enemies, let me quote one of Exia's line for you.
I already called dibs on the most lucrative real estate in hell.
Despite all the comments about how contingency contract battle plan is very hard compared to the previous generation of CC, Hypergriff did a really good job on changing things up for the second iteration of contingency contract. One good example is the revamping of the daily maps. Those were really brutal since if you're trying to complete the medal set, you basically had to log in every day to clear different stages that rotate daily. There are 4 maps in contingency contract Underdawn, and the final map is the pinch out map. Luckily, they didn't bring back the 1000% HP on mechs, or else the entire AK community would have been set on fire, so they managed to dodge a bullet there. Good job, Hypergriff. Aside from that, that's really the only thing that they did good, unfortunately. In fact, this version of contingency contract is harder than the previous CC we had. Supa did a really good job explaining the difficulty spike of CCB compared to the old CC, and if I were to summarize it, basically what happened is that the ability to stack risks in order to get more points is bad, compared to the previous CC where if you chose a risk that's much higher than the one you picked, it will override and only select the tag with the highest effect available instead of stacking them. Now, that's enough doom posting. Despite CCB being hard, there are still people that really push themselves to overcome adversity. This is a run from Pard, and Pard is no stranger to all of us. If you're a fan of high-end content, then Pard managed to clear CCB Underdawn with 870 points.
Wow, that's a really impressive run. I wish Renegade could be as good as Pard, but I'm stuck with this piece of shit.
That's true actually, but hey, I can hold my own, you know. Anyways, CL also managed to clear with 870 points, and one thing you notice is that once you slowly climb up the difficulty ladder, your options to choose which operator to bring is getting smaller and smaller. That's why you can see that CL's and Pard's lineup is almost similar.
Seal is such a god gamer, and like Renegade here who has a smooth brain and can't clear high-end content even with meta operators.
Alright, calm down now. You're starting to hurt my feelings. And finally, an honorable mention is Crave, who managed to clear with 505 points. But Renegade, that's quite a decrease in difficulty compared to the previous one you just mentioned. I know, but that's because the Mad Lad not only cleared it flawlessly, but they were also doing a one-tile no-hit challenge. As if contingency contract itself wasn't hard enough, they went ahead and challenged himself even further.
This strategy reminds me of our friend Plus Minus, who uploads once a year.
Hey, be nice.
Fuck you.
But also it's true. Where was I? Oh yeah, that's all the things about Underdawn taken care of. We have a tight schedule and Plus has an upload schedule to maintain, if you can believe such a thing exists.
The artistic culmination of Arknights multimedia, a concert showcasing the game's banger in-game soundtracks and operator themes, alongside a spectacle featuring our beloved characters and their rich stories. Ambience Synestesia is a beloved annual event, and this year's iteration, Res Souvenance, did not miss a beat. That's not all though. This year's AS was particularly special, as it was the feature of Global's first international screenings and get-togethers. The Arknights Ambience Synestesia 2024 offline screening in Toronto was an unofficial event that brought an experience, once exclusive to CN, to the global community. Yes, unofficial. That was a free entry grassroots event, brought to us by the community's sheer passion for the game, with support from various organizations and enthusiasts. It was basically one big get-together, with free food, drinks, and even souvenir bags for everyone. We even had a medal design like the in-game ones to commemorate the event for those who attended. The event was a huge success. Not only did everyone have fun, but this event was also a milestone for the global community, with Hypergriff now looking into bringing small-scale offline concerts to global, and event organizer Nomad Tikron planning for more Arknights events, unofficial or not. The AN community may have more in store for them in the near future.
Before we jump into the most anticipated section of the year, let's revisit some of the art trends that happened. We started from 480 pixel and slowly went up to 1080 pixel. And how can I ignore Keta doing the Oshi No Ko dance? That became a new brain rot for us weeps. Not only were there all sorts of reiterated versions, there were plenty, and I mean plenty, of Arknights versions too. And on the less silly spectrum of things, Hypergriff hosted a campus recruitment course at the University of Southern California. They showed all of their projects so far and a glimpse into what makes up Arknights, which consists of fine art, terror, medical, nice plot, doom, suffering, and last but not least, furry. And yes, this is an official Hypergriff presentation. What was also quite interesting was the Chinese game industry from the perspective of the game developers. And I'm not gonna lie, just looking at this PowerPoint slide makes one really think. The Chinese game industry has really come far, with a closing end of everyone getting merchandise before leaving the presentation, and lastly a message from Hai Mao. 你是中国游戏的未来, which translates into you are the future of Chinese games.
So, Babel. From October 10th to Halloween, we got the most anticipated events of the game, and also the one with the most misinformation regarding its story. Gameplay-wise, it was simple, kind of. The chain mechanic isn't too hard to grasp, but every single stage introduces a new enemy. Like, seriously, there are 10 new unique enemies in this event alone, all of which interact with the chains of friendship mechanic in different ways. We got 4 new operators, one of which was Oda, the first Earthshaker operator. He's fine, not great, but not bad either, unlike Lutanada and Aroma. At least Oda is usable. The 6th star of the event was Ascalon, which would have made the game in year 1, but currently is just good. She's kind of a side grade to Mizuki, which already isn't meta. But none of that is important. Babel is about love. Not just love, but also heartbreak. Loving something that you have no right to love. Loving people that some might argue shouldn't be loved. I won't spoil much here, but when Babel came out in CN, a lot of people misunderstood what was actually going on. If you were around back then, you would think that the doctor's mother gave birth to a kid way worse than Dumber Bin Laden and Saddam combined. In reality, the main 2 characters of the event, Doctor and Teresa, suffer solely because of their overwhelming empathy. But while they are both filled with love for Terra, the Doctor is indecisive while Teresa is almost naive and not really capable, which is why they both fail in the end. We learned quite a lot in this event, from Babel, of course, to the Doctor's civilization, to Kazdal, and even Oripathy. But we're still missing a lot of info in regards to Terra. We still don't really know what Originium actually is. We don't know a lot about the Doctor's civilization. We barely even know who the Priestess is. The story of Babel is a tragedy, but in tragedy, there is hope. Sure, Babel falls apart, Teresa dies, and Theresis starts his conquest of bloodshed. Even so, the will of Teresa gets passed on to Amiyi. Eventually, from Babel's ashes, we get Rhodes Island, and finally, the Doctor is freed of his biases. The Doctor can finally choose something by himself, strictly with the help of his own experience. Pre-Amnesia Doctor and Post-Amnesia Doctor are the same person, but they wouldn't make the same decisions.
So, tell me, what do you think makes an operator truly great? Well boss, it's simple. First and foremost, they need to be fun to play. We are a small indie game studio, so that should always be our first priority. Second, they have to be well balanced. After all, we can't afford to have another charter incident. And lastly, they must resonate with our community. You know, an operator who isn't just great at in-game performance, but is also beloved by casual audiences and hardcore players alike, an operator who can enhance the experience for everyone. Exactly. And that is why I think we are in agreement about our next limited operator. They need to be everything the players love. Unique mechanics, balanced power scaling, and an established presence in the lore. We have to make sure that this operator is beloved by the whole community. Boss, you almost sound like you already have a solid idea in mind. I do. I have been cooking her in my lab for the past 2 years. Ever since the Victoria arc started, I've been wondering, what if we turned the Roach into something more than a mercenary? Here, take a look. Wow, boss, I mean, this is genius. Using a limited operator and turning her into an alternative limited operator, it's like nothing I've ever seen before. It perfectly fits with her design and her character development. Even her abilities. You have already planned that out a long time ago. What an incredible feat. These skills and talents are powerful, yet from the looks of it, it is not just raw strength, it's elegance. Everything feels perfectly balanced. Boss, you are such a genius. You got one thing wrong. This is not balanced.
Broken cock, coming along at every fun. Broken cock, you're not the only fun. Whoa, you can take my balls. I will let them go down.
And with the Babel event behind us, we finally learned the truth of our past.
You've always known it would come down to this. After all, we're here because of you. Why won't you listen to me anymore? All that I care about now, it's only you. Only you can make this world seem right. Only you can make the darkness bright. Only you. You're my dream come true. My one and only you.
We really stood between two very heavy decisions. Either you married Theresa or nuked Terra. In any way, that was the perfect build-up for the most anticipated event of the year. Chapter 14 has delivered the absolute cinema of a story and final conclusion to all endings involving Londinium and the Sarcast. Some of the most bone-chilling reveals about the truth of Originium. W, you are such a dumbass. With Chapter 14, Absolve will be the Seekers. We have entered a new age, the just Wisadel age. I know there are a lot of people who are mad that she's this busted, but personally I don't give a fuck. I know how to get what I want, and that is exactly how she feels too. Actually, I like it that way, and I'm never gonna change. You know, while other operators got their alternative version by becoming a literal god of the ocean, wearing shiny armor, becoming unchained by remembering their true identity, or simply through countless painful experiences and the will to do good for their own people. But not with W. No one said you could get such a cool glow up by robbing a graveyard. I gotta warn ya, it is not just a glow up, she even progressed as a character. I mean, she didn't outright kill us for flirting and finally learned that killing us now makes no sense, because we are no longer the same doctor from Babel. If you thought Walter was the only one progressing as a character, then you are wrong, because Amiyi touched us and became a doctor herself. Okay, that was kinda untrue, but you get what I mean. She's now a doctor who kills. There was so much going on. We got a free monthly card, a ton of new skins, IRL meetup at New York Times Square. You could even meet Rory Popper there, the guy who is known for the Nyan Bean videos. And as always, I hosted another big event revolving around the latest chapter, but this time there was more. We had bigger events, more quality submissions, and much more prize money on the table. And dare I say, the events were a huge success. There were plenty of interesting speedrun clears, the competition was extremely fierce until the very end. The art submission were some of the most creative I've ever seen. I simply loved the idea of having a crossover of Wisadel and Breaking Bad. Lastly, the fan animation event. Everyone was so amazed by the amount of great submissions we received, and many of them were so good it felt as if they were CN content. And that is another line off of my bucket list.
Hello there, Arknights' most hated YouTuber here, once again as an apparition in another person's channel akin to a cryptid sighting. I was kindly asked to talk about the meta aspect of Chapter 14. You already know that Logos is stupid broken and Wiz feels like an EOS unit, so I won't repeat it here. Rather, I want to talk about what effect they had on the game and its meta. Wiz is power creep, obviously, and most people's knee-jerk reaction when she came out was rightfully negative. But let's think about it for a moment. Why is power creep bad? New unit releases and the game itself are in a constant arms race. As new operators get stronger and stronger, the game has to get harder and harder to compensate, both to keep a semblance of difficulty intact and to entice you even more to roll for that unit. The new operator ends up feeling necessary as the game grows to revolve around them. This also makes older units obsolete, as they aren't keeping up with the growing difficulty. The 6 months gap between N and CN is a double-edged sword. On one hand, this entire video. On the other, it gives us 6 months of foresight to see what long-term effects a unit's release had on the game. In the case of Walt, it was little to none. The fundamental difference between Arknights and other gachas is that Gummy is in it, but a close second is the fact that Arknights really isn't all that interested in catching up with new operators. The stages and their difficulties are ramping up, but not nearly as fast as operator strength. What this means is that you don't actually need Wisadel at all. All power creep does in Arknights is make the game more accessible to newcomers, like the Clayo channel shows. And that's all I wanted to say. I could go on a logoroic rant, but Plus only gave me like 2 minutes for this segment, so much me, bye!
You know what is better than having fun clearing a stage? Having fun clearing a stage with a friend, which is the main theme of the next event. It all started with an old co-op event that actually did not work as well as Hypergriff intended. But with the new Icebreaker games, they have exceeded our expectations. Beginners expected a pure hell because of their difference in level, while the seasoned veterans were looking forward to cooking up the most obnoxious squads to ruin their partner's day. And then there were the majority of the player base, people like you and me who are being reminded that we do not have any friends to play with. But once the event hit the global server, none of that ever happened. In fact, it was one of the most fun and engaging events of all time. We had a variety of stages with very interesting goals to strive for, although sometimes it turns out to be more of a kill steal than a cooperation. Then there's also the Bastion defense game mode, which genuinely felt like an all-out war because of the amount of enemies on the map. Last but not least, there is the best game mode among them all, the positioning football games. I believe I'm speaking for a large portion of the community when I say I haven't had this much fun in Arknights for a long time. The ball game was the essence of team play, the highest form of entertainment encapsulated in the simplest way, and the pinnacle of mass tomfoolery. Game modes like these just shows how Arknights is always reinventing the tower defense game genre and keeping this game fun. We were told that you were allowed to hit the enemy team members so hard they needed to relearn how to ball. This was one of those times when the community tried to force out the absolute limit of this game mode, while others just wanted to have a happy time. And that goes for the entirety of this event. Everyone enjoyed it in their own way. But beware if you use Wisadel in that event, because people actually despise those who did. To stop the usage of the roach and keep the fun, the community enacted the Assault movement, which stands for Ark silently slaughters allies to unleash lethal trolls.
I'm taking matters into my own hands. This is my villain Ark. If none of you will let me play the game, I'll keep deploying Ark behind your dear beloved waifu Wisadel before I cast durian-flavored Stimpak resolutely up her ass.
Before Christmas arrived, we received Lone Trail rerun. Once again it was time to put Kristen back to sleep, even though she just wants to touch the sky. It was the perfect time to revisit Columbia once more and celebrate by eating hot dogs. We celebrated the 1-year anniversary of Half a Cup of Rice. The ball game was so peak, now let's redo this with Shu to commit more mass genocide. And as if that wasn't good enough, Echogen hosted a giveaway giving out 50 monthly cards. It was really a peak event back-to-back-to-back experience, which Mumu would call a coinky dink.
Maestro. It's been a while, Doña Irene.
Indeed it has. Those clothes suit you.
Thank you. Right. There's been an emergency. The lighthouse, it just picked up signals of unknown origin. They seem to be coming from not the sea, but the sky.
Jordi, I think we can already see them.
Huh? Oh dear.
People of Iberia, do not be alarmed. Ager greets you. We would like to invite you to our city. Hopefully by working together with Iberia and other terrestrial nations, we will be able to create a waterway that links directly to land. That is all.
Arrogance. Don't worry, the Abyssal Hunters aren't going to turn into Seaborn because of the auto-adaptive junction that resists the Seaborn genes.
But there's a record of a failed auto-adaptive junction surgery in the Abyssal Hunter lab archives.
That was, Opianos.
Then how can we be sure he hasn't turned into a Seaborn yet? We should arrest him.
Those fools will never realize that I tempered with Miliarium's beacon system and weapons. If we can't beat the Seaborn, then we must become one with them!
You disappoint me, Blandis. Cultist of the deep.
Alright team, we've successfully planted the beacon. The Seaborn should be dying off any second now. What the hell is that? Why are they multiplying faster? Oh fuck!
The Church of the Deep's founder was you, Mardus? But why? You were gone for 2 whole centuries. What happened in that failed expedition? What turned you into what you are now?
Failed? No. It was a success beyond our wildest dreams. You see... We penetrated into the mantle for the first time. The presence carved in the rock into massive, maze-like competition into the mantle. We had never gone further than that, even 1,000 years of history. The mantle ruins the genesis of the civilization. We thought we'd find more notes, more secrets, more answers there. But all we had hoped for did not exist. All that was buried in those depths was a spark of hope. I was separated from my team along the way. I was the only one to make the end of the path. There, I saw a giant, some massive thing sitting in the shadows of the cerulean tree. I not see his entirety. A small part of his lid was enough to fill my time in. That lid was touching the transparent wall of a sealed chamber. Perhaps he was looking for contact. Or perhaps, before I realized it, I was standing before him and reaching out. The wall of the chamber was cold, but I could feel King's voice. Then, the vision surged towards me from every direction. It unmade me. Fallen sea, the real passively hanging the land of flame. The star being extinguished, the star being broken, the road that was shattered. Maybe I noticed some reason for the resource of destruction. I saw the giants before my eyes. Yet, it was not the end. Vision continued to flow. Vision far beyond my limited comprehension. Each one of the sourcing particles entered the sand and memorable. Cold, light was faint and dark as my head. Without stars and ever-expanding black holes. Nothing there was familiar. I lost my senses, all of them. Having the firm that shared with me no sense of their existence. It was entirely alien place, without life, meaning, or information. But you opposite, understand the meaning of those visions. It was the end of resource civilization, and the landing that terror on its face. It is the end of all things. The horrifying images left me as I pulled my hand back, protect my knowledge. One broken, bloody, chaotic. He and his children told all that living and consumed the moon and the stars. All that living and dead shall nurture him, and each shall never at a time survive. Over and over, survive. He was trapped within a dream. The dream stagnated. Evolution stagnated. Continued, stagnated. He was trapped in a miserable cave. Therefore I must awaken him.
I see.
It seems the Seaborn are making this tower their own nest.
What? Can we reverse it? What do we do now?
We must eject the tower from the city before it's too late. You go, young one.
But if you do that, you'll sink along with it. Into the hordes of Seaborn.
I must remain here to confirm that the framework has resumed operation. Then eject the tower myself.
Okay.
We need to move the city to land if we're going to survive the seaborne attack. We can ask the Inquisition for support once we're up there.
Isharmala! 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 Isharmala!
Ishamla. Skadi. You are not nutrients to complete the cycle. You are its end. They await your transformation. They await your evolution. Return to us, Ishamla. What do you say? You have followed me through many nests, Abyssal Hunter. What do you wish to know?
Everything.
I can tell you all you've longed to know, Hunter. We kin are selfless. We kin are devoted. We kin wish to share everything. The only requirement is that you become one with we many. Follow us, Pianus.
Lead the way.
It's time to dive deep into the ocean and embrace the true path of life. We finally get to see the hubris of Aegir people. This event was quite unique. The new mechanic allowed us to build our custom high tiles, while also reviving our primordial PTSD from Stultifera Navis. But before we venture deeper, let me ask you a serious question. Are you a fan of consuming 100 HP per second and dealing 200 true damage per second to your enemies that have either attacked or been attacked by you, while your attack range increases by +1, max HP by 60%, attack by 120%, also each attack restores 5% of your HP and has a 25% chance to stun your targets for 5 seconds? Or are you an enjoyer of immediately increase your max HP by 80%, increasing your attack by 260%, you also immediately throw an anchor forward, stopping when hitting a target or reaching the max distance, which is a whopping 6 tiles, dealing 160% of attack as physical damage to all nearby enemies and stunning them for 6 seconds. If the anchor stops on a tile you can deploy on, you will move to that tile. The skill can be manually deactivated, and when skill ends, you will return to your original position. I will let you know that I am a huge fan of the ocean, man. Half-Life was the season to whale for a whale, quite literally. He was the daddy of all daddies, the most chat operator in the game, an operator who doesn't rely on defense to tank. Nah, dude simply face tanked all his enemies without even flinching. And you know what I call him? The reverse hookmaster. Ulpianus really outshined every other content during the update. Despite us receiving a free 6-star ticket, a bunch of other goodies and even Thorn's English VA. And that was all of Arknights 2024. We got more Australian Cunny, more flat but fertile land, more tales within the sand, more song cover, more Arknights Endfield exhibition, more collaboration with other franchises, more songs reminding us of Seaborn PTSD, more Link Shield, more backstory that gave us depression while I'm just a chill guy, more game-breaking operators so modern Arknights player can feel the power of balance, more co-op games to kill the balance, more creator contests, more Crusher copypasta, more GG beating the shit out of you, more fan games, more football games, more burnt toast, more meetup at Times Square, more concerts, more Breaking Bad reference, more community events, and all in all, more Arknights content that we can enjoy as a community. This video was sponsored by, well, you guys. Thank you all for being a member of my channel. Shoutout goes to Grimsley, Frid, Magaro, Overture Saint, Synestesia, Congo Prime, Coverty Animes, Jason Visanto, Akirian, and Nona. Make sure to like, subscribe, and consider becoming a channel member so you will get spoilers of my upcoming projects, getting access to a VIP channel, watch my and best of all, getting mentioned to receive the "Mom, I'm on TV" experience every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching this video until the very end. I wish you all a happy new year, and I will see you in 2025.
Doctor.